Hey, my name is Jacob Rushfin, founder and CEO of Botsy and the host of the Price Power podcast, where we help subscription apps grow their revenue. Today, we're talking with Michael Bardin. Michael is a growth product lead at the agency Applica, where he's helping apps grow by improving their onboarding, paywalls, lifecycle, and pricing and packaging. I'm super excited today because we're digging into real world examples of wins they've had recently with clients. One client, they helped ARR grow by 9x. Another, they improved trial start rates from 3% to 16%. And a third, they increased ARPU by 47%. We dig into how they actually achieve these results by using research to guide pricing and packaging, how to personalize your paywalls and when to do this, how to construct upsell offers for your web funnel, how to create a strong, sticky new user experience that actually boosts your retention, and much more. Hey, Michael, I'm so glad to have you on the podcast today. I'm really excited to chat with you and learn from all your interesting tests and case studies at Applica.
Hey, Jacob, thanks for having me. I've been watching the podcast and admiring the guests you had. And I'm happy to be here, share my experience, share knowledge, whatever would be useful to know and discuss.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you have some great things to share. I'm really excited to dig into all of this. So we're going to go through a few case studies that you guys have put together. I think there's some really valuable insights for app growth teams and app founders to dig into, and honestly, some impressive results as well. And so I'm excited to hear how you guys achieved them and what we can learn from. So first, we're going to talk about Pulsetto. Can you give just a quick overview of what Pulsetto is?
Pulsetto is a product that is mainly a hardware. It's a device that one puts on his neck, and it's supposed to stimulate their vagus nerve. It places a nerve system near your neck, which helps you to reduce stress, remove anxiety. And the app initially served like as a remote control, as a mean to use the device itself, regulate its intensity, use its different features. And the app subscription side has been appearing later on.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a super interesting. Have you tried it?
Yes, of course. Yes. I mean, that was one of the first things we were sent the devices. We were very excited and thrilled to use it because, we will cover it later. The initial experience that you have with a device may cause friction, and you really need to have proper expectations about it because the way you use it, the way the sensations it may give you are not something you experience on day-to-day basis. It's kind of a bit like electroshock, but on a small level. So yeah, it was very exciting. And yes, there was some friction, which we'll discuss later, like how to help users to adopt it, to have proper expectations for the device and its usage.
Cool. Yeah, just curious. It seems like very interesting. But
Yeah.
the first real insight is just around the paywall placement. And you guys showed that there was no, the insight was there was no real paywall at the moment that mattered. One is what is the moment that mattered? What is that important area? And then how does that get missed during building of the original app? Was it people just not experienced in kind of, conversion optimization?
Yes. So as I said before, the company was kind of growing very, very fast. The devices, the marketing team, they've done amazing job on selling the devices, and the product team was kind of catching to the marketing team. And when we initially started our cooperation, the app was quite raw. They obviously had paywalls, but they were deeply hidden in the app. They were gating features. They looked poorly. And as we know, with any app, the earlier you try to convert people, the better result you see. And the first thing we done is we kind of knew that people who just bought the device, they're kind of very hopeful of its benefits, how it will affect their lives. And this initial anticipation kind of increases their initial intent to even buy a subscription. So yeah, we've done a very simple thing. We just put the paywall right after the onboarding quiz. We also kind of adjusted it to make sure it creates this sense of personalization, that it's not just the device, It's also the in-app experience that will be personalized for you and provided by premium subscription. And at the end, as a standard practice, we showed the paywall.
I think that most people that don't have experience in this mobile app world, you think, oh, I should let users go further in the app, experience more value. But it is important to step into their shoes in a sense and understand that, like you say, their excitement, their intent is highest early on. And so we want to capture it on that. And to be honest, one of the best ways to drive retention and usage of an app is to get someone to pay for it. Once they pay, they're more bought in, they're more kind of invested. And so I think that some people feel manipulative or wrong to show a paywall up front, but ultimately, people are excited to try your product. They may forget about it later on, so it's important to capture in on that and excitement early on. And so I think that for people more experienced, yes, this is a common tactic. Everybody knows this, but for people not as experienced yet, it's counterintuitive in a sense. All right, and so you moved it to the paywall to kind of right after the onboarding quiz flow, and I think most apps, this is where most of the revenue comes in and most of the conversions happen. Is that what you all saw here?
Yes, again, like we just immediately started to see the impact of it. The paywall was converting very well. And I mean, as you just said, like there's always this friction of people who are not experienced that they want to show the paywall like some time later on when people already experience the value. And I feel like our industry kind of fetishizes this aha moment. Like you need to really experience the value of the app to be able to buy it, and it kind of ignores the anticipation that a person has or curiosity before he even engages with a product. And this anticipation and hope for product benefits may be more impactful on users' intent to buy than the actual experience of using the device and experience its benefits. And as I said, the first session of device usage is not actually pleasant, right? So like putting the paywall after it would not work well, because yes, again, like it's not built, the value the device gives you, it's built over time, and we just try to make sure that this anticipation and hope that users have is where their intent to pay is, and that's what show how this works.
It's also when you simply look at the math in terms of people that actually see the paywall. If no one sees a paywall, they can't pay or buy your product. If you put it later in the app, a majority of your user base will have dropped off by then and left, and will never see the paywall and get the opportunity to pay. And if you think you have a good product that's worth and you want people to use, ultimately you need to make money for it so you can support the growth and get more people to see it. And so I think it's this misguided belief that like we shouldn't ask people to pay for the things we're building, and so it's a good reminder for most app builders and founders and growth teams. This is kind of this initial step. Okay, we add the paywall at the right place so everybody sees it. They have high intent. We're trying to convert that intent. And I think there was also some changing. And first, we should say I buried the lead a little bit here. You guys grew Pulsetto's ARR by 9x, and so like all these changes had a huge impact. And so hopefully, it wasn't just the paywall placement.
Yes,
but these other ones did it too. So I think it's important for people to understand now, like these aren't small things. This had a pretty huge impact on their business and their ability to grow and their ability to get this product to people. So you changed the paywall placement, and then I think there was I think you said you changed the trial length from 3-day trial to 7 days. Tell me about that and what was the thinking there?
One of the things that we immediately observed after having the onboarding paywall is that the trial start rate, like it started increasing greatly, right? Because we actually showed the paywall, there was a lot of exposure, but the trial start rate was very low. Yeah, very low, like maybe 4%, like 2%, something like that. But trial conversion rate was very high. It was around 80%, which is more than like even top quartile benchmark that we would see in revenue cat state of subscription. Like it's very high.
This was before you made the change or after?
It was after we introduced the paywall, but we haven't touched the subscription duration or pricing yet. Like, so we
Got it.
just
Okay.
kind of adjusted the paywall visually and put it at the end of the onboarding. That's it. And what we observed after it, that trial start rate was low, but trial conversion rate was very high. In order to investigate what are potential causes why users are starting trial, we launched a paywall exit intent survey. Basically, when a person closed the paywall, we showed him a screen where he was supposed to answer why he didn't take trial. And the results show that like pricing was like only 10% or less 10% of people said that pricing was an issue. And two most popular reasons were that they're not ready to commit, and the second one was that they already paid for the device and they feel like they're paying twice. Because the device cost around $300 and asking for another 100 with subscription, yes, didn't feel fair to them. The trial change, again, like it's also based on our past experiments with other projects. What we often see with trial duration experiments, that it's not so much moves the conversion rate, trial conversion, it really moves trial start rate. Like the longer the trial is, the easier for people to commit to that starting trial decision, the less anxiety they have about canceling it. So once we did it, it started moving the needle further and like growing the trial start rate.
That's great. That's so interesting. I think that it's not a lever that people think about as much, I believe, and I think that people have started biasing towards shorter trial lengths for faster payback and iterations to reinvest back in paid. And I think it's important for people to
Yeah.
understand the benefits of a longer trial from a user's perspective. And it also matters with the product, right? Like how long is it going to take you to experience the value? Is it going to can you experience things in a 1 hour session and you get it, or is it going to take a few days? If it's going to take a few days, you probably need a longer trial.
Yeah, definitely. And that's especially the case for Pulsetto. Again, like you don't feel the benefits immediately. You need some time. You need like 3-4 sessions in order to have that. Otherwise, you don't feel it.
All right, so you guys changed the trial length. The longer trial led to higher trial start rate. And that's a pretty big win, especially when your trial conversion rate was already so high. That's probably kind of a pretty impactful change as well. And so I think next you guys then built different paywalls or segmented or personalized paywalls for different placements in the app, for different points in the life cycle. Tell me about how you kind of went about this approach of more segmented and targeted paywalls.
So yeah, the first biggest step up for us was to have Revenue Cat Paywall Builder. That's what changed the game for us, because we were no longer dependent on developers. And like as a just side note of how kind of agency client relationship work, we have like one main person of contact who works with developers separately from us. So it's really hard sometimes to have impact on developers or ask them to do something. So the more independency we have, the better. And yeah, Revenue Cat provided to us. So once we had it, we started to look in other points of user journey to identify like where we can where else we can convert users. And as the very next point for us was the paywall that we showed when user canceled the onboarding paywall. So the immediate downsell when they canceled the paywall. And we had different experiments there. We experimented with the with discount paywall, with different discounts. And the thing that worked for us was the downsell with even longer trial, 14-day trial. So when users went through onboarding, like just to mention how it was working, they had the onboarding, they saw the onboarding paywall, they closed it, and they immediately saw the exit intent offer with longer trial. And this also changed a lot for us because it was generating, I think, 10-15% of overall revenue. People who closed the initial deal, they were willing to pay the same price, but with twice longer trial. And it had the very same trial conversion rate. So it was the next thing that kind of started moving the needle.
Got it. And so instead of discounting, just a longer trial.
Yes, we
and this
tried
kind of
40.
this ties in with the same learning, right? Of that, if there's a subsegment of people that the 3-day trial isn't enough and the 7-day trial is better, you can probably extend that same hypothesis out. Well, there's another group of users where the 7-day trial isn't enough, where people aren't all the same, and so this makes sense. So if this is a good learning for somebody, if they see that a longer trial already converts more people, as a secondary offer, try another longer trial.
Yes, and again, like the survey showed that pricing was not the issue for people not starting the trial. It was like not kind of willing to commit. So the longer trial kind of made more sense, and it worked out in the end. Yeah.
And so did you have different creative or designs on the paywall, or was it just a different pricing or packaging at different placements in the app?
You're talking about the exit intent paywall for onboarding, or in general?
Just like, was there any segmentation of the users on the paywall based on? No, okay. Yeah.
No. Unfortunately, we didn't have a chance to do that. But we were working a lot with other paywall placements in the app. So the way like free and premium experience differentiated was that certain features were paid. Like you could obviously stimulate user device for free and stimulate with it, but like certain types of stimulations or advanced health analytics were not available to you, and they were gated behind a paywall. And for us, the next change, given that we have a lot of freedom with RevenueCat, was to explore how much we can lift up the conversion rate of those internal paywall placements with paywall change. And just to make clear why it wasn't a test for us, we kind of made a judgment call. So for most of the apps, which are like products in themselves, like having a unique paywall for every paywall placements probably wouldn't work, because people usually either start trial or convert at the beginning, or they leave the app forever, never remember it. For Pulsetto, it's different because users already committed to the app by buying the device and having it, and they are regularly facing those feature gates. They're interacting with them, seeing with them. So a more unique approach where we just have a proper explanation of what feature is, with different visualizations, copywriting. That's what helped us to increase the conversion rate for those gated paywall placements.
Yeah, this is a good insight as well, where a lot of times, for a lot of apps, you lose all your users, new users so quickly, that secondary paywalls, later paywalls, you can put them, but the overall impact is still pretty small in contrast to the onboarding paywall. But if you have a freemium audience and you have a free user base that has decent retention, they're going into their app, they're going to discover these paywalls. It'll be a bit of a longer tail, right? The onboarding paywall will still be higher impact, but this long tail will add up, and it will make a difference. And so this is a good thinking about like when and how to prioritize these efforts. Do you guys think about frequency of showing a paywall, about how often to show a paywall to users? Do you have any kind of guidance on like general rules? Should this user see a paywall every session? Should it be every few sessions? Should it just be based on interactions or triggers?
So yes, we mainly based on interactions with gated features. But during sales campaigns, which we had a lot, we had a cap of 2 shows. One when the campaign was starting, and one at the end. That was it for us.
Got it. Okay, this makes sense. And so, I think that it can, you see people saying, hey, on every app open, you should show a paywall. But if you have a freemium audience that has good retention, like, you'll lose them and they'll get annoyed. And so if you want to build that retention and you want to build this free audience, you should be careful and not just push people too hard.
Yes.
Otherwise, people will think that there's no value in the free product. If you keep pushing someone to pay, and you keep pushing the premium product, they'll go, oh, subconsciously or consciously, that the free experience is not meaningful or isn't worth it for them to use. And so it's a different strategy, right? If you want to push everybody to
Mm-hmm.
have kind of paid subscriptions, or you want to have this long tail of free user
Mm-hmm.
base over time. And so it's just, people should be conscious of their choices there.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yes.
This
Mm-hmm.
is really interesting. So, well, first off, put the paywall at the right spot, put it after the onboarding flow when people have the highest intent. I think your insight around the survey after the paywall to understand why people weren't starting the trial was super interesting, and not enough people do this. And
Mm-hmm.
you kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall to go, did this work? Did this work? Did this work? Without actually kind of understanding what your users are experiencing. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think this of, was the price too high? Were you not ready to start yet? Are there other reasons?
Mm-hmm.
This is a great tactic to figure out how to actually improve your paywall, how to improve the trial start rate. So you saw that people weren't ready to commit, or there wasn't a long enough time period. You added the longer trial. Are you able to say how much this increased the trial start rate?
I can just say that at the beginning we had around, I think, 3 or 4% conversion rate, and at the end we had around 15 and 16% at the end of the
That's
calculation.
huge. That's
Yeah.
huge. That completely changes monetization, especially
Yes.
when you have that really strong trial conversion. Okay, and then you added some more contextual placements for the paywall based on what people are interacting with in terms of locked features.
Mm-hmm.
Added the longer trial as a second offer for people that
Mm-hmm.
still weren't quite ready, and then had different seasonal sales as well for
Mm-hmm.
when people opened the app to convert people, because you had that free audience that was engaged. You could take advantage of those
Mm-hmm.
users who were coming into the app. This is great. Yeah, I think a lot of like very actionable tactical learnings. Cool. So we've got 2 more apps to get through and 2 more learnings. So we're going to keep going. The next product we want to talk about that you guys worked on is Beducated. Can you give me a quick
Mm-hmm.
overview of Beducated?
So yeah, Beducated, it is a sex education web-to-app platform. They were acquiring users via different channels, Meta. They were using influencers, and they used web-to-web funnel in order to convert people. And when we started cooperating, they already had good monetization. They wanted to scale and improve their metrics. So we kind of had all of the necessary infrastructure for us to start testing. Yeah, but we didn't know a lot about the audience, their differences, and that's where kind of the main insights of the learnings of the project are.
Cool. And I think we don't want to we want to tell people kind of the impact, and then we can kind of tell how you guys did that. So you lifted revenue per user for paid traffic, for meta traffic, by
Mm-hmm.
47%,
Mm-hmm.
and then revenue per user for organic traffic by 27%. And I think this is a little foreshadowing, right, about kind of the tactics you guys used here. And so, you all use different paywalls and different approaches for their organic versus paid traffic. And so you guys saw that the setup that you had on Meta didn't work on organic. Tell me about how you came to that conclusion. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
what you guys did.
Yeah, so this was something we didn't anticipate to see, to be honest. So we knew that they had different channels. Unfortunately, in the platform, we couldn't see the difference in like ARPU for each of the channel. But when we launched our first test, it was the test where we mainly improved the visuals, improved the copy, added 30-day 30-day back guarantee. So we kind of combined a lot of changes into one, and we launched the test. And what we saw is that the result landed completely differently for people who are coming from Meta paid traffic and those who are coming from organic sources, from influencers and this type organic channels. And it was a surprise. We didn't expect, I mean, we've seen a difference based on channel, but not such a difference. and that gave us a hint for further testing. We understood that organic traffic was much less price sensitive. They were much more warm, so we could really play with different subscription durations, with prices, in order to not squeeze, or like have better RPU, have better conversion rate from them. So again, as to summarize, it was not something we expected. It was a surprise, and it was a learning on the go, which is always, this is where is your growth is actually happening. So it was very cool.
How are you segmenting this traffic to understand that?
So we knew campaign IDs, and when we analyzed the test, we used campaign IDs to see how the performance diverged from one traffic source to another.
Got it. And so you were seeing, okay, there was the meta campaigns, and then users coming from organic sources, and then just looking at the conversion rates, from those sources. What did you do with those insights? I guess and maybe I missed it, was the organic traffic converting better or worse? What was happening in terms of the different conversion rates, and then what did you do based on what you saw?
For organic traffic, yes, we saw that having bigger prices and having such a price configuration where your annual plan is very highlighted, it has the badge, it has the discount, like we're kind of architecturing the purchase choice in a way where like we want them to buy annual, and doing that helped us to move the needle for organic. They were not, again, like we removed 1 month plan for organic, and it didn't change conversion rate at all. It was a very big surprise for us because, again, usually when you remove the cheapest subscription, you always see it dropped. And we didn't see it. People were going for 3-month plan, 12-month plan. They didn't care about paying more. It was a cool thing. And another insight we got in that is that the subscription duration, it really depends on how people think, or not think, how they project their usage of the product into the future. So again, sex education is not something you can do in a week, probably in a month. So when we remove the 1-month plan, nothing changed because people could easily see themselves using the product after 3 months, after a year. So especially because they were very warm, they already knew the brand, they trusted an influencer. They didn't care about not having the very cheap option.
And then what was the changes on the meta side? Was it just the opposite, that you kept do you lower prices? Did you raise prices?
Yes.
What was the insight on the paid traffic?
So for paid traffic, there was lots of, successful and unsuccessful experiments as well. We initially tried to play with prices as well, try to reduce them to see whether conversion rate increases enough to improve RPU. It didn't work in many cases. And the final structure of plans that worked the best was having the weekly plan. And again, weekly plan for web funnels is like a trial, basically, for apps. It was just a way for them to kind of understand, touch the product. And having that was necessary for earning their trust. And later on, I believe they were even upsold longer term subscriptions rather than a weekly plan.
Yeah. And since it's a web flow, you don't want to offer the completely free trials. And so were you guys doing intro offers at all? Or was it just direct to the full subscription purchase?
There was no intro offer. It was the same subscription price, but it was just a 1 week, which is like a proxy for a trial on the web. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. And so for the organic users, these were high intent users. They said, I want to use this. I'm excited. They were fine to kind of just purchase immediately. But for the meta traffic, the paid traffic, these people maybe heard about Beducated for the first time in an ad, still weren't quite sure, had needed some convincing. And so they needed essentially a trial period or shorter plans to effectively
Mm-hmm.
allow them to kind of
Mm-hmm.
try things out. This is interesting, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that some other web products solve this with those paid intro offers, right? Where it's $10 for a week, and then it goes to $20 a month or $30 a month or $100 a year or something. But they have these paid intro offers on web where you don't want to have a free trial on web because you'll get too many invalid payments, and
Mm-hmm.
your payments will fail, and then you'll have issues with payment processors. So
Yeah.
cool. And then the other thing you had here, you added a post-purchase add-on or upsell. Tell me about that.
Yeah, sure, Jacob. I just wanted to say one more thing about what worked on the meta. I forgot it. Sorry. So, yeah, first of all, I was working not alone on the project. I had an amazing colleague, Roman Kalinchuk, and he had a hypothesis which kind of didn't make sense to me. It was for meta traffic. It was just changing the CTA from subscribe now to start learning. And in my experience of app testing, like CTAs, I mean, they're kind of experiments of the past. You rarely even play with them because there is kind of already a best practice, and you don't want to have a test slot for a CTA test. But he kind of pushed for it, and it also, I believe, gave us like 50 or 20% improvement in conversion rate for a change. So yes, just want to highlight that. So the CTAs also in 2026 can be a powerful leverage. You have to try it, give it a go.
That's a
So
big change. That's a big
that's a
result
very
for a
big
CTA.
change. Yes.
Yeah. The worst CTA is using subscribe. If we can move the CTA copy from subscribe now to anything else, because just people thinking it clues them in that I'm making a purchase, I'm going to have an ongoing subscription. It forces them to stop and think about it. Where if you even something simpler like just continue, but even better if it's contextual like that, start learning now.
Mhm.
And so I'm surprised that it was that big a change. I'm not surprised that moving from subscribe now to something else did have an impact, but that's quite a large impact.
That's very large. Yes, I've
Yeah.
seen so many experiments like that failing, so I rarely prioritize them. Yes, and it was a very unexpected thing.
Yeah,
To,
it's
yeah.
good to keep in mind. Don't forget about it. If you have a free
Mhm.
test slot, try it out because it's a quick test, and
Yeah.
you should be able to either work quickly or it won't.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a good learning. But yeah, generally like contextual CTAs that talk
Mm-hmm.
about the product, talk about the value they're getting. This
Mm-hmm.
is generally better. But if all else fails, you fall back to just continue. Continue is
Mm-hmm.
a kind of tried and true that will usually work decently
Yeah.
well if you can't figure out something else. Okay, cool. So yeah, tell me about the upsell you added.
So yeah, that was kind of a structural flaw of the web funnel. I mean, upsells is kind of a mandatory thing to have. It's a low-hanging fruit that can increase like your revenue per user by from 10 to 20%. So our first idea was to sell the PDF. That was a piece of content that was provided to us by the project of the Beducated content makers. We haven't created ourselves, but we added it and we played with its price, and it worked out for us. It was improving the ARPU for user in a good way. But later on, we started exploring, at the end of the cooperation, we started exploring a different way to upsell people. It's not PDF, but it was called Beducated Duo. It was basically framed as a content consumption experience provided for a specific pair. So it was shown to people who mentioned during the onboarding that they are in a pair and that they want to improve their relationship sex life. And once they purchase the plan, we started to upsell them the Beducated Duo plan. So it worked much better than the PDF one, because again, it was not generic, it was personalized to a specific pain point, life situation of a person, and it made more sense for them to buy an upsell.
Did you still offer the PDF to people who didn't say they had a partner?
Yes, we said, and we initially we had two upsells. We're showing Beducated Duo and then PDF, but it actually showed that no one bought the PDF. Like, so having
Okay.
multiple up, like there is a limit to your greediness,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
And so do you think that starting with a simple PDF upsell is a good way to validate that people will buy the upsell, and then you can invest more time in building out a more full additional product experience?
Exactly, yes. I think it's a necessity to have any upsell. You need, of course, to understand how it makes sense within your product, but like having something to evaluate how it works and then and then like testing it. Yes, it's a low hanging fruit. Like it's free money in many cases. Yeah.
Got it. This is a great learning, and I think that it's probably more common on the website I see, but I think
Yeah.
more apps on mobile should start doing this as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to sell additional value. People that start a trial, people that purchase, are telling you they're interested in your product. These are the people that you should offer upsells to. They're already saying they're signaling
Mm-hmm.
they're excited, they have high intent. See if you can offer them additional value and something else.
Mm-hmm.
These are great insights. I think that, I'm starting to see more apps try out different plans for organic versus paid traffic. This is something that Botsy helps with as well, kind of building our
Mm-hmm.
AI ML models to take in, attribution acquisition signals as well as a bunch of other signals to
Mm-hmm.
figure out kind of the right offer and right plan. And so, we see this happening as well, that there's powerful signals in your traffic, in your data. You
Mm-hmm.
can also look at things like user goals. What are they saying during kind of onboarding, and lots of other signals. And so, whether you're using, Botsy's AI ML models to build this, or whether you're doing simple rule-based stuff,
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely opportunity here. So I think this is a great insight for people to take away. All right, so our last app, which I think is kind of different work there, but still interesting. Alux, is that how you pronounce it?
Alux, yeah.
Alux. Tell me about this app.
So this app, you can think of it about kind of headway for someone who wants to become rich. It's a very unique and very kind of deep in knowledge library of like how to make right financial decisions, how to grow in general. So the product has had lots and still has again lots of valuable content. The main struggle was that the pricing for the product was very high. I believe right now it's $200 per yearly subscription, which is a lot for a content app. When we were working, it was less, I think 149, 150. And and it was something that we kind of were not touching. We were just given the prices, and we were supposed to increase conversion rate for those prices. Again, like our main goal with the project was to improve conversion rate and day 1, day 7 retention by having kind of more focused first session experience.
I'm sure like you get this app and you go, oh my God, it's $150. You want us to improve the paid conversion rate? Well, I'll tell you how to improve it. Lower your price. But this seems like it wasn't an option. And so tell me about how you kind of tried to kind of communicate the value better, and what tactics you tried there to improve this conversion.
So yeah, again, like why we thought the project again still has potential, because despite the high prices, because the onboarding was quite raw. It had kind of generic questions that were framed not from the perspective of a user, but like I mean, I shared with you the screens. The wording was not very well put. It was not kind of inspiring, or it was not relevant. It was not kind of explaining what the product is and how it can improve your life. And the thing that really helped us was that at the end of the onboarding, which was already existing when we started working, they had the commitment screen where you were supposed to write what you would like to achieve and by when. And we kind of extracted this data from Mixpanel, like everything that a person ever wrote in this. And we segmented this data by those who actually converted and those who didn't convert. So for saying those. And we used the quotes, direct quotes, as a source, and our UX UI writer used this data and made the magic happen. It chose the right words, and yeah, it improved the way the value was communicated. And besides the copy, we also added a lot more screens, which made the value more tangible. Again, as we kind of understood the audience better, we knew that the financial aspiration and motivation was the key, which meant that every kind of benefit screen we used in the onboarding had to reflect that progress in financial life that users would make having Alux. And having this communication angle during the whole onboarding what helped us to improve trial start rate and conversion rate.
This is, interesting in terms of using this free response data from onboarding to truly understand your users. I don't think apps do this enough in terms of this qualitative research side. And this was unintentional, right? The intention wasn't for them to kind of have this qualitative research, but you had all these questions that you could then use and tap into to truly understand users' real motivations. And so it seems like there's two elements. One, when you ask users what they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to do, they'll tell you in their own words how they're thinking about the product. This is the best marketing copy you can ever have, right? Exactly what a user is thinking. Take this, the good phrases, the good copy, put this into the product and use it. Two, actually understanding how people are thinking, what the blocks are, where kind of opportunities are to actually improve the flow. And so I think this is quite valuable, even if you don't have a free response section in your actual product. If you collect email, send people a quick survey, even if not everybody answers, this should be very valuable over time to understand what the motivations of your users are better. And so tell me more about the kind of building this commitment. Originally, they asked users about manufacturing commitment and kind of building this commitment. How did you see this insight that there was opportunity there, and what else did you do to build this out?
So yeah, it started with analyzing the behavior of users during the first session, and what we saw that there was a very low activation rate into starting and completing very first content piece that they had. And after observing the app, our main hypothesis was that it had too many options, too many irrelevant options. It was just like overwhelmed with different, like you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. It was not like streamlined, very focused. And they had a one content piece that they were pushing users through, but it wasn't working very well. It was kind of like foundational week or like your first content piece. Again, like it was not about your value, it's about like how to get your value. This was like an intro thing, which also we didn't think it was good because we assumed that the users, they wanted to get the value as soon as possible for them. They wanted to have this experience of a good quality content rather than an intro to what is a good content or what is our content. And based on that, we haven't run like experience with this. We haven't tested different variations of this. But the design change that we've made was to drastically reduce the visual scope of the content pieces that you would see during your first session until you complete 50% of your content piece to one main block of content, which was based on the goals that you chose during the onboarding, and then have like much smaller 3 content pieces as something you could choose if you didn't want for some reason to complete the main thing that we were showing.
This is great. Yeah, I see this, and I'm sure you guys see this all the time. An app's home screen is filled to the brim with different options and pieces of content and things to do, and a user just gets overloaded, right? They see everything and they go, what am I supposed to do? and this confusion maybe causes them tap around a little bit, and subconsciously or consciously, maybe some anxiety, and it'll
Mm-hmm.
cause a lot of people to leave and go, I'll come back to this, and I'm not sure what
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to do. I'll check it out later, and then they never come back. And so simplicity and focus is so important in that early new user experience.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. This was the hypothesis behind the change, and we improved both day 1 and day 7 retention by having this change. So I guess, yeah, I think the main kind of type of app that would benefit from this is an education app that has lots of different things the users could do, but you need to really focus their very first experience. Like, what do you want them to complete? Like, what do you want them to experience at the very beginning? Because anything completed is better than no completion at the beginning.
Yeah. Did you you mentioned that the first intro content piece was not great quality or not super engaging. Did you look at the engagement rate or retention patterns from other content pieces that people engaged with to understand what you should show users first?
Well, what we just observed, that people who for some reason didn't go for this content piece that was pushed, they had better completion rate. So it gave us a hint that if we show a different content piece at the very beginning, it would work better. And the personalization was based on the most popular content pieces for that specific goal that users picked during their onboarding.
Got it. So it wasn't that, hey, you saw these content pieces work better. It was just any content will be better than what we have now.
Yes, exactly.
This one is bad. This one just people don't
Yes.
like, and so we're gonna make the educated guess
Mhm.
that we're gonna personalize a little bit based on someone's
Mhm.
goals and present kind of a slightly personalized, segmented
Mhm.
experience based on what they told us
Yeah.
before. And then go straight to the high quality content, get rid of the intro stuff, but then also keep it focused, keep it streamlined, create a distinctive new user experience. And then after someone actually understands the app, understands what the value is, then you can add back the
Mhm.
complexity and give back the choice because they're bought in. But
Mhm.
before that, it's like they're still learning. Like, don't distract them. Just like get them to the value as fast as possible.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so you improved retention overall, where retention is a super hard thing to move. And so you improved initial retention, but also day 7 retention. What did you do after that first session?
I think that what we've only done one experiment for them, which included
Okay.
both onboarding and the in-app changes, and that was it for us. The project was like very focused.
Okay. I think you mentioned some gamification or maybe like any streaks did you add?
Not for Alux, it was for
Okay.
Pulsetto. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
I got that. Yeah, too many apps, too many wins.
Yeah.
And so you guys said that you improved day 1 retention by 22% and install to paid conversion rate by 26%. This is pretty impressive in terms of being able to make a meaningful difference in this app. And I think that this, from my experience, and I've given talks on this, that the only proven way to improve retention is to improve activation and user experience. It's all about that first
Yes.
session. It's all about getting value fast. And this is when you have a kind of retention problem, it's usually an activation, onboarding problem.
Yes, I think in 99% of the cases, that's true. That's where usually the biggest drop off in retention you see. It's like first week, first day. It's where most of the people are leaving the app. Yeah.
Yeah. This was great. Well, so many great insights for people here. I appreciate you running through multiple apps and multiple case studies and kind of sharing all your learnings. If you guys are interested in getting similar results, go reach out to Applica, go message Michael on LinkedIn and tell him, how do you do that for me? And so Applica does great work on kind of product UX and conversion optimization, as well as many other things. But I think that, most agencies are overly focused on paid acquisition. I know you guys do paid UA as
Mm-hmm.
well, but I think fewer agencies and services really understand that activation, onboarding, how to get value fast, how to drive retention, and so yeah, it's been exciting to kind of see the work you guys do here and the results you're able to drive. So really appreciate you coming on the podcast today, Michael. Anything else you want to share with the audience? Any last parting thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say again that I'm not working alone. I'm working with my great teammates who build the designs, who write the copy, who suggest ideas. So yeah, shout out to them. And we've been lucky to work with amazing clients. Just want to highlight Pulsetto. We didn't do the work alone. Again, we worked in close contact with product owner from Pulsetto, who kind of like in collaboration with him or with the team of Pulsetto, like all of this major wins are coming from. So yeah, just mentioning that it's like a lot of people are involved behind
Yes.
this.
Yeah. It's always a team effort,
Yeah.
but that's great. Awesome. Well, we'll include links to Applica and the case studies and the show notes, so people can go check them out. But this is awesome. I really appreciate you joining, Michael.
Yeah. Thank you, Jacob, for having me.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Please go to pricepowerpodcast.com to see all the episodes. Go to Spotify and YouTube and give us a subscribe and follow so you don't miss any episodes. All right, talk to you next time.